What's up everyone? Alex here. Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth was a great game with its own unique set of quirks. For many, it was a great excuse to hang out with some of the most beloved characters in the series' current renaissance. For some, it was a grueling experience that betrayed both the approachability of its source material and its seemingly innocent art style. Regardless of where you may find yourself between these points, or even if you've never played Persona Q, I'm happy to say that Persona Q2, New Cinema Labyrinth, is the series' best foot forward, with the series developers addressing many of the previous game's quirks. But is it worth playing even if you've never played, or maybe even finished, the first game? Join me as we descend into a new Cinema Labyrinth in Persona Q2 and answer these questions and more with the Persona gang in my review, hours later. Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth tells the story of the Phantom Thieves from Persona 5 as they take their usual trip down Mementos but wind up elsewhere, finding themselves in a city where a villain they've faced before is being praised as a superhero. As the city's authorities learn of their presence, the Phantom Thieves manage to escape their grasp and stumble upon a portal that takes them to an old cinema that appears to be showing their experiences to an unsuspecting audience of two. The mystery only deepens, however, as the team, now joined by audience members Hikari and Nagi, begin to encounter other Persona users from eras unknown to them, as they learn that they are held captive by an unknown entity, forcing them to finish each movie to reveal the identity of their latest foe. Co-developed by Lankars, the team that brought you the Etrian Odyssey series and this year's Zanki Zero, Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth is a first-person dungeon crawler RPG with turn-based battles activated via random encounters. During these battles, you command a party of 5 characters, distributed across a front and back row, allowing for a maximum of 3 party members each row. This distinction from the mainline Persona party configurations is important, as certain party members, depending on their positioning, might not be able to hit certain enemies who also adhere to a similar row system, and vice versa. Knowing this, the game has been designed around the strategic movement of party members between the front and back row, asking players to move weakened characters to the back for some much-needed heals, and replenishing them with HP-filled party members up front. This movement occurs at the beginning of each turn, and can be done an infinite amount of times. And while the game glosses over this feature, I personally think that this is one of the most important aspects of this game. Building on that point, newcomers will notice that each character won't be able to take the entire brunt of attacks monsters lob at them, making them think that maybe they're underleveled, or that they need better equipment. And while the latter certainly is helpful in many situations, the game's first boss battle makes it readily apparent that Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth wants you to be proficient at its systems quickly, so they can throw more challenges at you later on. The first boss battle features an endurance fight that lasts for at least 20 minutes. I probably spent a good chunk of time trying to understand what to do in this fight, only to be frustrated at the sudden difficulty spike. In most other RPGs, endurance fights are typically used midway through a game as a way to gauge whether or not players have mastered the game's many systems, and this kind of fight just seems to be introduced too early in this game. But I digress. I've enjoyed the differences in Persona Q2's battle system compared to the mainline games, regardless of the off-putting battle design of the game's first boss. Any way you slice it, and despite the developers' best intentions to improve the difficulty balance of the game, Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth will be a challenging game for newcomers to the series. That said, while I have played Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth, I can tell you that you don't need to play the former game to enjoy the story of Persona Q2, and frankly, it's preferable. Tonally, while Persona Q's story sometimes reflected the harsher, more horror-centric stories of the mainline games, this clashed with the game's character art direction. This isn't to say that there's no place for cute characters to have serious, and even dark, storylines. But parts of Persona Q felt to me as though the development team didn't have a lot of the details nailed down during its development. Persona Q2 benefits heavily from these details being sorted out, such as whether the game is canon or not. Answer: it is, but it might as well not have been. Or whether the developer should care that this series affects the mainline games heavily. Answer: they shouldn't. This allows the story to be free of the shackles of the mainline Persona games, giving the Q series its own identity, while allowing us to enjoy spending time with characters that we've come to know and love. And what a story Persona Q2 tells! Not only is there only one storyline to follow this time around, compared to 2 in the original, The developers managed to incorporate every single Persona character naturally into each story event while appropriately handling their introductions and interactions in a manner fitting of their personality. I can't stress how difficult it must have been to try and give meaningful moments to a cast of 27 playable Persona characters, but they masterfully did it. That said, even if you're unfamiliar with any or some of these characters, you'll quickly learn why many longtime fans love them. And while Persona Q2's story isn't as dark as the former game, or even its mainline brethren, it still has the slight flavor of horror that you've come to expect from a Persona game, though peppered with much more hijinks and bits that give the Q series its own identity. The game's story also delivers constant twists and turns while exploring each dungeon, that helps ease the experience of playing a dungeon crawler RPG, and since I eat up this kind of stuff, the story kept me playing for a very long time. Bringing everything together is the kind of presentation that longtime fans have come to expect from the Persona games, blending slick and colorful transitions with artwork that makes the characters pop. That said, I wish the developers spent some time designing its user interface with quality of life enhancements in mind, as I found myself toggling between a couple of different menus just to see every character's levels. Due to the enormous size of the cast, Persona Q2 only features Japanese voiceovers, making it a little jarring for players like myself who have only heard the English voice actors of the featured games. Thankfully, the localized dialogue matches the intensity and energy of the Japanese voice actors' delivery, and soon enough, I stopped caring about not having another voice track. Accompanying the familiar sights and sounds from the Persona mainline games is yet another fantastic soundtrack by Atsushi Kitajo, and thanks to the creativity of the game's settings and locales, he's able to flex his musical talents in a variety of interesting ways. Persona Q2, New Cinema Labyrinth, feels like it's the ultimate fulfillment of the team's wishes of what the Q series was supposed to be. Who cares if it's canonical? Kind of attitude that wants to revel in the celebration of the Persona series by utilizing its vast array of memorable characters, mixed in with some supernatural hijinks and jokes that the Q series will be known for in the years to come. And while Persona Q Shadow of the Labyrinth was a good game, Persona Q2 will make it really hard for any player to go back, and anyone willing to take this detour before Persona 5 Royal comes out next year will be in for a challenging and memorable experience with friends old and new.
Looking back on you now, you were mysterious right from the start. Something said to